I think you're right. I think the mental game today is as important as the skill, because you've got players that, the crowd's going to be, right at it from minute one. If you haven't got the right mentality today, there could end up being red cards in the game today.
So, Dave, comes down to this: 3 games to go, 2 at home, 1 away. Salisbury on Monday. What's you thinking?
Well, unbelievable season, isn't it? When you think about where we've come from over the last 12 months, whatever the outcome, fantastic season, fantastic progress, and a great time to be a Borough fan, right?
I mean, obviously, eyes are not only going to be here today, they're going to be down at Truro as well, at the Truro City Stadium where they're playing Torquay. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just on the fan base, I think that's one of the really exciting things about how far the club's come. Whatever the result today, it shows that there's such potential within the town to come out and support your local team. And I think that bodes really well for the future. We've got a team that we can really get behind. We've got a manager we can really get behind. We've got owners we can really get behind. And it's really galvanising the community. And I know that's the heart of what Simon and Alan wanted to do when they first come here. So regardless of the outcome, and regardless of what actually happens in terms of the outcome of this season, I think the long-term future for this club looks really, really great. And of course, like you say, we're all going to have our mobiles in our hands, say we on, looking at foot mob and looking at what's going on around the rest of the grounds, in the National League South. But first and foremost, we've got to do our job here today. We've got to make sure that we win the next 3 matches, make sure we get those points on the board, and then really, if we do our job, then that's the only thing that matters, really.
As a young side, I think that's where these older heads, your Adams, your Greenies, your people like that are bringing them through.
I think that's 100% right, and I think we've got to be realistic about where we are as a club. We're a National League South club, and it's all about by having these really great coaches within the club who are able to identify where the weaknesses are within the players who are coming. Because if these players were already well-rounded, well-polished players with no faults in their game, they wouldn't be playing at our level. They'd be playing in League One of a Championship.
Exactly that.
So the fact that we can identify these rough diamonds, bring them into the club, polish them up with the coaches that we've got here, and then it's, not only is it going to obviously benefit the club, it's benefiting the team, and, we're all going forward together. And I think that's what we're really doing. We have got a young team. You just look at the development of the squad, month on month, year on year. Every single player within this squad is getting better, and that's just fantastic, isn't it?
And I can't think of any player in the squad, to be fair, that I think doesn't deserve to be playing at this level.
Yep.
We might have spent a bit of money, but there was other clubs that were spending far more money than us, and they've not got the results that we've got. Right? They're not sitting there. I mean, when the fixtures came out at the start of the season, no one thought that on Good Friday he was going to have first at home to fourth and third at home to second, right? Yeah. I mean, it's amazing.
But I don't think it's only about the money, Obaz. I think, what this club's really good at doing is we sign players not just because of their skill, we're signing them based on their character and what they bring to the team and what they are as men. And that's really important, because you can make players better players, but it's about making people, bringing in people that are really good people and helping them become the best people that they can be as well. And I think the club's great at doing that.
Yeah, and I think, in the future, I was speaking to a couple of players who was down at training in the week, and I was speaking to a couple of players who were telling me about their forward development when they finished football. Yeah. That's what this club said. They wanted to make the players a brand, right? And I think that's happening. And
we've already seen it. You look at Brad. Brad's doing really well on social media with his, his recovery pod. Yasser, who was with us last season, is going on. I think he's a coach at Palace now as well. That's what they're about. They're about bringing in these players, and that's what makes us really unique. They care about the people. They're not just an employee to the club. They're about bringing them in, making them better people, and then when they leave here, they're a better version of themselves than when they first arrived. And that can only benefit the club.
Of course it can, and it can only benefit them, and that benefits people in the future that might hear that Borough's now, sniffing around for them and whatever else, actually come into the club, and being maybe that draw that brings that better player here.
Well, I think it will have one of those sort of effects where if you look on a player's CV and you see that they've come through Man United or they've come through an Arsenal academy. You know they're going to have a certain pedigree about them. And I think from a non-league point of view, we're going to become that. You're going to start seeing how that player's been at Borough. There's going to be something a bit different about them. And I think that's going to have a value to itself, you know.
And I agree with that. And obviously, going back to today, I mean, I went to watch Worthing up at Hornchurch when they got beat 1-0. And I'm not going to lie, that was the first day I think that I was driving home, and I'd been doing a few updates for the messenger groups, you know, the supporters, and I actually broke down. I welled up and I said, guys, this dream's becoming reality now, and I still believe that the dream of us getting promoted is definitely reality. Still believe the dream of winning the league's reality for myself. And what I saw on that night was Worthing have got a couple of players. If you keep them quiet, they're less effective.
I think you're right. I think the mental game today is as important as the skill, because you've got players that, you know, the crowd's going to be, you know, right at it from minute one. You know, if you haven't got the right mentality today, there could end up being red cards in the game today, and we know how that can, you know, affect the game. So it's about who can keep their nerve, balancing that experience with the youth that we've got as well, winning the midfield battle. And the game is absolutely there to be won today. We've got a manager, you know, who knows how to win games like this. And I think even if we go 1-0 down today, even if there is a little bit of, you know, adversity in the game today, I think the fans just need to stick with us for 90 minutes today, and then, you know, cheer us on right till the end.
I totally agree, and I certainly will be behind that goal, making sure that making sure that they do. But yeah, no, I mean, I think, like I say, Worthing have got a couple of players that I think if you keep them quiet, they're far less effective. I don't see that with us, because I think we've got, you know, when you say that midfield battle, I think any one of our players in the midfield can turn it on, right?
100%.
And how can you keep 4 players or 3 players?
We saw that Averley away is a perfect example, right? So they've done their homework, and they realised that George and Yaya were going to be a massive threat. What did that do? Well, that opened it up for Jason and for Jaden Davis, who for the first 45 minutes literally ripped them apart. They had all the space, but they were worried about Yaya on the other side. That's the thing. It's not, you can't isolate one threat. If you keep one part of the pitch quiet, then we've got players who can exploit that around the rest of the pitch. And that's brilliant.
And I think we saw that at Enfield as well. I think Enfield tried to do that. They tried to keep a couple of players out. And, you know, we win 5-0. And, you know, let's be fair, it was a bit of a freak result. Everything we shot went in. You know, but at the end of the day, we've still scored them goals, and you know, which has obviously helped the goal difference going into this stage of the season. So come on, here's your prediction now. Where are Borough going to be at 5 o'clock next Saturday afternoon?
Mate, I mean, it could literally go every way, couldn't it? It could go every way, and that's the exciting thing about this season. You know, every week you look at thinking, oh, that team's going to win, and it's just all thrown up in the air every single week. Who knows? Look, I know that we're going to do everything we can to do what we can do. I'm positive. There's some good teams in this division, but whatever we do, I know that this club's moving in the right direction, and you know, it's a really exciting time to be a Borough fan.
Yeah, and I'm with you, and I think, I mean, so I'll say mine. I hope we win it, obviously. I think we'll finish in the top 3, which gives us that bit of a break before the playoff games. But more importantly than that, home or away, I don't actually fear anybody because of the team we've got, because of the management team we've got. I don't fear any team.
Yeah.
I think there are obviously going to be harder games, but I don't fear them. Even when you look at Dorking, you know, we went to Dorking and we were a little bit flat a few weeks ago. We got beat 3-1, but we weren't. That wasn't a 3-1 game. You know, and I literally don't fear anybody. And I think when we have that solid back line, which we've had so many times, and the fact that we're unbeaten here, right?
Yeah.
So if we get a game here, don't care what anyone says, because you said earlier about mind games. There's going to be mind games on them Worthing players today. They know that 17 teams so far have come here, or 18 teams, whatever it is, and haven't got a win. They know they need to win today to win the league. Just an amazing day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
And whatever the situation, I'm with you. It's been a great season to be a Borough fan, but a great season to be a fan of any team in the Panorama South, eh?
100%.
Because every team's been there, you know. I mean, it's 10 or 11 teams now top the league at some point in the season. Unheard of.
And the thing is as well, guys, you know, as much as a result today, and obviously we all want that to be 3 points, a real positive performance from the boys. We'll hopefully get a lot of these fans coming back again next week, and then hopefully they'll catch a bug, and then we'll see these attendances creeping up. And if we can have it like this every week, then amazing, unbelievable, right?
And it's what Simon and Alan and Adam and the team deserve, right?
Yeah.
And the bigger the crowd, the better the player you're going to attract anyway. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for your time,
Thanks,
David.
mate. Cheers, Baz.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.